Ellen and James Corden were hosting this amazing fundraiser, and everyone in LA who you'd expect to be there was in the audience. And I was sitting at a table, and I'm literally three people down from Leonardo DiCaprio, and I didn't say hello to him the whole night, like, because I was just like, what am I doing at this table? Like,
what's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Ria and Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Friday. Happy weekend, everybody. Of course, this podcast is presented to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. We have our Pepsi Wild Cherry Zero Sugar in studio with us. You heard us drinking it the other day, and it was quite delicious. It seriously tastes amazing, and it's the sweet and delicious flavor of Pepsi Wild Cherry, available in zero sugar as well, like we have here, and it helps bring out that wild side of you, whether it's opting for, maybe you want to stay in this weekend, maybe you just want to have a night in your house, your apartment, wherever you are, pick a show, binge watch it with your Pepsi Wild Cherry, or maybe you're going to an early dinner with friends and you're not want to get too crazy, but you want to get a little wild.
It's January. You might be on the dry Jan train.
You might be
like me, enjoying those Pepsi Wild Cherries.
Or you just enjoy Pepsi Wild Cherry all year round, which I do. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bold, refreshing, and bursting with delicious cherry flavor. Pepsi Wild Cherry allows us to indulge and feel a little bit wild in our everyday life. So grab your Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild. Seriously, guys, it tastes absolutely delicious. And somebody else mentioned Pepsi Wild Cherry today.
I was listening.
Travis Kelsey on New Heights.
He did. Travis, they were talking about sodas, and I will not name any competitors, but Travis Kelsey said Pepsi Wild Cherry, best soda.
It is
out there. And he's right.
He's right. Super, super delicious. So grab one and get wild. How we feeling today?
Great. Ready for the weekend. Ready for some sunshine. I'm going to Florida. Weather's supposed to be nice.
Really nice.
I've been stalking the forecast. Seeing low 80s.
Yeah, beautiful.
Amazing. Just ideal situation.
Yeah.
So we're both going to get some sunshine.
Yeah, I am headed to the Bahamas. I'm jet setting to the Bahamas, and I'm super excited about that. I love the Bahamas. Gonna just sit my ass on the beach, relax, take in the sun, and then when I come back, it's go time, because we got approved for our new apartment. Yay!
Amazing.
I'm so excited.
It's all happening so fast.
Yes, we're gonna have to move fast. Yeah. We are then moving in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So once I come back from the Bahamas, we're gonna have to start packing. Boom, 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 and then we are in the new apartment hopefully by February 10th. So we're so excited. Oh my God! I can't.
No,
we were waiting for her to get back to us.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting watching TV. And then it was like kind of late, or not late, but just for the text. Once it reached 8 p.m., I was not expecting.
It's past business hours.
I was like, she's going to maybe text us tomorrow. Boom, approved, good to go. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
So exciting.
I'm so excited.
You guys, it's going to be great. And I also said to you that like a little vacay right before you have to really
get into the thick of it.
Yeah. I feel like the timing worked out perfectly. Like you can enjoy your trip, come home, and pack everything up.
Now, do I feel relaxed that we're going on a beach vacation before we have to move? No, I don't.
Right,
I'm now not at ease because I'm like, oh my God, we have so much to do. But we're trying to remind ourselves to just relax, enjoy the beach, and because once we come back, we are going to have to do it all. But I'm really excited.
No,
I'm so excited.
Big things. What do you, not to, ask you questions that I don't know if you have the answers to yet, but you obviously have furniture in the apartment you live in.
Yeah.
Is there certain things you're bringing, certain things you want to get new things?
The living room is going to be all new. Because
start fresh.
We already got a new bed recently.
Yes.
So that's taken care of. But I'm really just excited for the living room. You know what I mean?
Styling stuff and picking things out and all those things. I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are gonna love doing it.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm just confused, like of when do I order the couch, right? Like, do I go soon so that I can?
What do the sites say these days? Like, do
1
they have
to 3
shipping?
weeks.
Okay, so
I'm like, should I go on, when I get back on Monday and then schedule it to be delivered when I'm there, like, around the move-in day?
Yeah, probably.
So that we have a couch,
Yeah.
Now this is the tricky part. We are supposed to move in the Friday before Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
So
the 3rd?
No, Super Bowl Sunday is the 11th.
11th? I gotcha.
Super Bowl Sunday is the 11th.
Friday before.
We're going to be moving in.
For some reason, I was
Friday
thinking
before.
Sunday before.
We want to be able to watch the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
well, maybe you'll go to a party.
Maybe, but I'm going to be wanting to get everything settled. So, tricky timing.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll figure it out. We could plug the TV in.
Yes. Realistically, you won't be fully settled 2 days.
No, we won't.
Later
You
to
won't
watch
be.
the Super Bowl. You won't be.
We won't be.
That would be insanely impressive. But even if you just have the TV on the floor and you plug it in and you
sit on the floor,
we'll at least have our
fun out of it.
Or
bed.
you go somewhere.
Or we go somewhere
to watch the Super Bowl.
We go to somebody else's place to watch the Super Bowl, or we watch the Super Bowl from our bed.
Yep,
because we will have the bed and the
that's
TV
true.
there.
There you go.
So we'll see.
A lot of options.
There are a lot of options. We shall see.
So
but
exciting.
Very excited.
Love. It's just. I'm so excited to see what you do at the place.
Thanks. Maybe you'll come over.
I know. I plan on it.
You do? I hope so.
Yeah.
I
plan on it.
It's a nice place.
No, I know. That's hey.
That's why.
Yeah, I've got an outdoor pool.
Yeah.
I'll bring my bikini. Will
right. Exactly. In the summer,
Yeah.
I
That'll get me
think I
over
realized
there.
It's outdoor.
Yeah, outdoor pool. For
it's like
for some reason, I was just imagining indoor.
Yeah.
No, it's
Wow.
like on the deck.
There is
it's lounge chairs and everything.
There is an indoor hot tub.
Sauna, you said?
There's a
Hot
sauna.
tub?
That's awesome.
There's a sauna.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the sauna.
So
you
better catch me bringing over my little beach bag.
Of course. I'm glad
to come sit by the pool.
I haven't gotten you to come to Jersey City yet, so now I'm excited you'll come here. We sent the video to Noah, and Noah was like, "My room looks gorgeous."
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
You got room.
Yeah.
Little bros moving in.
Sleep over. It's a long way back to Manhattan late at night.
Of course.
Yeah, that is true.
Anybody's
Honestly,
welcome.
oh my God, you are going to have the nights where you guys all decide to go out, like in Hoboken or something, that extra bedroom utilized.
It will be. Glenn had the same reaction.
Yeah,
Glenn was like, also my bedroom looks gorgeous. Like everybody had the
Yep.
same.
Everyone was like, wow.
Yeah. Our friends that live in Maryland were like, so when are we coming over? Like,
Yeah.
which is, it's nice when people want to come over.
Everybody wants to come. Everyone wants to lay claim to that extra bedroom.
Right. Which is very exciting. So super excited for that. Yay. And I'm excited for the Bahamas. So all good things. All good things coming.
Great things.
Next week, we will be announcing our March tour.
Yes.
So please stay tuned for that. All dates will be in March.
Dates are all in March. We are doing 6 shows. I won't
6
say
shows.
anything more than that.
Yep.
Little tease on this Friday. 6 places. All new places except for one.
What could it be?
Yeah.
Yes.
So think about that this weekend.
Yeah. Get yourself excited and then maybe let down when we're not coming to your city.
Yeah. No, we are very, very excited. And yeah, that it's gonna be a busy March, but a good March. Got some great guests lined up.
Mm-hmm. Really great guests.
Somebody cut me off before I keep talking.
No, we have
Oh, God.
some.
No, I know it's bubbling up inside me.
You guys will find out soon.
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
some awesome guests.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
We're gonna get into the rest of the show where we have a great interview with Jay Shetty.
Awesome.
It was really awesome to sit down and talk with him.
Some major Friday energy, one might say.
Right. Make you feel inspired. Lovely guy. And
he has
really
a great story.
Yeah, great storyteller, and really just enjoyed our time with him. Full hour.
He is really calming to listen to as well. You know, you get it, and I have listened to his podcast and consumed his content, but in person, it's like a mesmerizing feel. Mm-hmm. You understand why he's on the Calm app, you know?
Yeah, totally. And you're captivated, and I think everybody will be captivated as well listening.
Yep.
You did want to talk about one more thing before we got into that.
You know, I've actually had a few things pop into my mind as we've been sitting here. I'll go through them quickly.
Okay.
One, I'm having an issue. Like, I don't know what's going on in my mind. Maybe I need to decompress. Maybe a little trip will help me. But I have been like falling asleep every night, thinking about the podcast like the next day, and basically like acting like I'm on the show in my head. Like I've caught myself doing it, and I've been doing it 3 or 4 nights in a row. Sometimes it happens here or there, but like the third night in a row, like last night, I was like, "What am I doing?" Like in my mind, I'm like trying to fall asleep, but in my head, I'm like, "Hey everyone, so yeah, this weekend we're going," and I'm like, "Why am I doing this? It's keeping me up." I don't like the feeling.
Yeah, I've been there plenty of times. I've been there in the shower.
Yes. No,
Speaking
and
of
it's,
the shower.
I think sometimes it's normal to think of like, oh, you in your mind, you're like, oh, this would be so good. I remember to say this.
Right.
But when you're trying to fall asleep, it's just not the headspace you want to be in.
And then do you ever start laughing at yourself? You're like, that's good.
Yes. I'm like,
That's
and then
good.
I always forget.
I'm funny.
Then I just always forget what I'm even thinking about.
What were you going to say about shower?
Well, I didn't know if I was going to bring this up because I'm like, it is kind of weird. But this is a callback to last episode.
Okay.
So when I was in the shower yesterday after we recorded that episode,
Yeah.
when I went to wash
clean.
my
butt crack.
Yes.
you came
privates.
I had
you visualized Ria.
Yes, I thought of you, and now every time I do, I'm gonna think of you.
Damn, yeah, you know, that is so true. That is so true. That's a tough spot to be in. And
hilarious.
actually, Noah, Noah, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I thought the same thing when I showered this morning.
Guys, I gotta be honest. I thought about it too, but I thought about myself bringing it.
I'm sure Trent and everyone else who like they're all now everyone when they wash their butt.
Yep.
They're thinking of you.
I thought about it too. I thought about it too. I was like, oh, I'm doing it.
You were like, yep, it's in there.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Fins
you're right.
swimming around.
I did think about it also.
Wow. Honestly, I'm honored.
There'll be a lot cleaner butts in the world now.
There are with me around.
Yep. Everybody's just a little Ria
the butt crack, please.
Ria popping onto their shoulder. Don't forget to wash.
Yeah. They're like just gonna
All
see
your
it out of the
cracks.
corner of your eye. You didn't wash enough.
Ria's the butt crack fairy.
Interesting title.
Listen to me. You didn't wash enough.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Do do another swipe. More soap this time.
Oh man.
Please, unscented. That did not feel good. You wanted to talk about the mob wife aesthetic.
I did. Because this has been actually popping into my mind like every day before we record. Or I see something online, I'm like, oh my God, we have to talk about this. And then every single time I forget. It's crazy how that happens. Where I'm like, I'm telling myself for hours, remember to bring. And then like, even just the other day when we did the weekly watch report, you specifically called out how you want to watch Love Island All-Stars. And that you were like, I got to get in, I got to do the VPN or something because I got to watch. I then went on to do my list and just not even mention Love Island All-Stars. You know, like I'm like, what was I thinking?
Right.
We talked about it and I still didn't bring it up.
Friend, we talk a lot.
Yeah, we do talk a lot.
We talk a lot. And I you know, sometimes you forget things and sometimes you say the wrong thing and you don't mean it. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure I called American Ferrara.
Yeah, it just came out weird.
And that is just because we talk a lot.
Yep.
And sometimes the words get jumbled.
Yep. That is very true.
You forget. I think I called her American Ferrara.
Yeah. You fixed yourself very fast.
I didn't even realize until I was halfway home. And I had a shiver and I went, oh my God, I think I called her American Ferrara.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's true. It is true. It's the words flow and then when you finish, it's like, what did I even just say? But I have been thinking about this because social media has been taken by a storm. We are abuzz. Also, clearly I'm having like an all over the place kind of day. We were just talking about how the Sephora kids are using products that could maybe be bad for their skin. Saw some articles today about how some of those products aren't good for youthful skin like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we were on the right track. Okay, anyway, social media. has been up in arms, or there's the newest craze where the clean girl aesthetic is out and the mob wife aesthetic is in. Now, I've seen some TikToks that have claimed we've gone everywhere from like, oh, this is like a cute new trend to like, this is an industry plant from HBO because of The Sopranos 25th anniversary. Somehow they've got us all dressing like mob wives and rewatching The Sopranos, which we all three of us have been rewatching The Sopranos. But, you know, dressing like a mob wife is no new thing.
It's no new thing
for us.
For us. And especially myself.
Especially you.
Because...
And some family members that we all have.
Right. And I know people may not believe me, but just shortly before this mob wife aesthetic took float,
yeah,
we were sitting in this very studio, and I wore a long sleeve shirt that had a fur collar.
People have probably seen it before. It's super cute,
and it was
fur collar, has little fur cuffs,
right? And you can scroll back on our Instagram because I wore it with a guest recently.
Yeah.
And I put my hair in a slick back bun. I had my hoops in, whatever. And we were sitting here and I said, guys, you know, sometimes it upsets me that there are people out there, like girls with bleached blonde hair, that can put in a slick back bun with some fur and they got this clean girl look going on. When I put my hair in a slick back bun with some fur, I look like a mob wife.
Yep.
It's the exact conversation we had in this studio.
Correct.
And
now you're in. You're it, honey.
Well,
you're the it girl.
Apparently so. Well, because I was like down about I was like, damn, everything I wear, I look like so Italian. And that's because I am.
Yep.
But I don't even know if it's mob wife aesthetic or is it just Long Island, Jersey,
Our
New York aesthetic.
It's not your costume.
No, it's not.
All you non-Italians dressing up as mob wives, we've got something to say.
And I'm not perverted, just Italian.
Yeah.
Classic.
Just, you know, you're putting in those gold hoops, putting on that fur, acting like somebody you're not.
Yeah. Seriously? We've been doing this for years.
Does your last name end in a vowel? No?
No.
No fur for you.
Do you have family dinner on Sunday? Stumped.
Do you call it gravy? Not sauce?
I actually don't call it gravy. Never have.
I don't either, to be honest.
Yeah, my family never
But that's
has.
a thing.
It is a thing.
That is.
Does your mom make the best meatballs?
Yeah. Have you had my grandma's? Don't think so.
Yeah, so this is a thing that's going on. And it's more so how quickly people like throw everything out and move on. Like you could be both. One day you can be something and one day you could be it all. Be yourself.
Also, like, don't be told
what to do.
If you like that look, the clean girl look, I think, is still very much in. Look at Kylie Jenner right now.
Clean.
Like Kylie Jenner, this Paris Fashion Week thing she's got going on, stunning.
But
she's like, you know, minimal makeup. I would say.
Can we just be honest and say clean is always in?
Clean is always in
because it's clean.
Because it's clean. It looks clean.
It's clean.
And clean is always good.
Clean is always hygiene is always great.
Right. I don't know where it went from. Forget clean. Let's mob wife.
Are you
like where did that transition come from?
Are you now calling me a dirty Italian? Yeah. If clean is out and mob wife is in,
right.
Are we dirty?
Well, it just really seems like the makeup is all the same. It's just you're putting on some sort of fur and ear and gold hoops and slicking your hair back,
and
like that's it.
Gold
like
jewelry.
the clean makeup look is still the same makeup that they're doing, and perhaps an eyeliner, a thicker eyeliner is what people.
Yes.
What more
Look
can
at
I
me?
do?
Look at me. Who am I to you?
Oh man, I know. I really do feel like that we are jumping on like trends. We are slaves to the trends right now, more than ever. It feels like. I actually saw this girl on TikTok. She was cracking me up. She always comes up on my For You page, and I'm gonna forget her name. Kelly, I think it is, maybe. And she was wearing a black T-shirt tucked in, just super cute jeans with a Gucci belt, with the big gold chain.
Yeah.
And she looked adorable. And she was like, you know, I am sick and tired of people telling me who decided the Gucci belt is out. You know, she's like, my sister. It's like, you know, Gretchen Wieners with her hoops that she wasn't allowed to wear.
Yeah.
She's like, my sister bought me this belt as a gift when I was the maid of honor at her wedding. I love this belt. And then I stopped wearing it because people said, Gucci belts are out. God forbid I wear this Gucci belt. Can't wear it.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? I like this belt and I'm going to wear it.
Anybody could set a trend.
Yeah.
Anybody could set a trend. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. So
and now, did I make TikToks to soprano sounds?
As you should. I mean, look,
because I don't have.
We're already in.
I don't gotta try.
Yeah.
I'm already doing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're already in. We don't have.
I'm not pretending to be somebody I'm not.
We don't have to conform to this trend. We're already in the trend.
We are the trend, honey.
Honestly, I went back and looked at my the outfit I wore for our Charlotte show and was like,
we've been doing this.
I know. With the slick, with
these
the earrings,
boutanas
the big
out
fur,
here,
the
they don't even
boots.
know what they're doing. Butana disgraziata che sei. They don't even know.
Actually, fun fact, I don't know if I'm even like allowed to share this publicly, like if I'm gonna get like taken out. No, that has nothing to not mafia related at all. But my family is in the process of trying to become dual citizens, and we're almost there. I gotta set up my meeting we got the email today.
Are you guys planning on spending that much time in Italy?
Me personally, no, but for my parents and my brother and their business, it would be extremely beneficial. And so it's like, if they're all doing it, why not it be all of us?
Yeah.
Because it's a, family thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to set up our appointments at the Italian consulate soon we've been working on this for years.
Make sure you pull
My
out
dad's
your fur.
been working this out. I know. So I would have an Italian passport, which would be pretty sick.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yep. Bet a lot of people dress.
Yeah, but they don't.
But they aren't getting their Italian
Not in my
passports.
family. But my grandfather was born in Italy.
Yes. You could do.
He came over here when he was 27 years old.
It's a long ass process, and it's been crazy.
I don't even know if he has American citizenship.
Then
I'm kidding, he does.
Hey, you're in then. That's actually what you want.
Yeah,
that's actually
he's
what
good.
you want.
He's legal.
But if he wasn't, that's your ticket.
Yeah.
Just saying. No, but I just thought it's really all over the place. I see it quite literally everywhere.
It's
now.
everywhere, and
but when everybody enjoy it. It kind of feels like everybody gets to, everyone feels like they're dressing up.
Right, and
it's like a Halloween costume. Not our Halloween costume.
Not our Halloween. This is our life. This is my lifestyle you're talking about. No, it's just I've been judged in the past for how I look. Oh, she looks like a dirty Italian from Long Island. Mm-hmm. Well, hop aboard, honey.
Yep.
That's what the people like these days.
It sure is.
Yeah.
My cat eye and my fur never been more in.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing it for your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, you guys do you. And also you can continue to be clean because
honestly, fucking do your makeup however you want. However
some
you
days
think it
I
looks
don't
good.
wear a liner.
I know.
Okay, I admit it. Some days
know.
I don't wear a liner.
Don't conform to the trends.
And
And
don't tell
because I have.
When you see me without a liner, don't say, "Oh, you're leaving your mob wife in the pet." No, some days I like to not wear it.
The belt thing
Some
really
days I like to wear no makeup.
The belt thing really hit home for me because I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I've bought myself some nice pieces that have not been trendy in the last couple of years, and I haven't pulled them out of my closet because of that. And they're beautiful pieces, and they should be out.
Having your own style is unique.
It is.
Everybody looks the same these days.
Yep.
Everybody's faces look the same these days as well.
Well, yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Sorry, no judgment.
I just saw a TikTok that
no judgment,
Yeah.
but I think there is something, not to get into a deeper conversation, but I think there is something to everybody. I wish people
be yourself.
Embrace
be
their
yourself.
their unique selves
Be
sometimes.
yourself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I hated my nose for the longest time. Okay, people have told me I have a big nose. It's part of us being Italian. And as soon as Marty and I started dating, something he would always tell me was, he's like, you have the cutest nose. You have the cutest nose. And I was like, what? I was like, I have never heard that in my life. I've actually heard quite the opposite all the time about my nose. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that I am now appreciating my nose, but I also wish I appreciated it before you told me that.
Right,
you know?
right.
Because you made me see the beauty in my nose, but I wish I saw the beauty in myself.
Inner validation.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I'm totally
now you have
confident
it, but
right.
yeah.
Right. But I'm like, you know,
yep.
You know, when you get told you got a big nose all the time, you believe it. But that's okay.
I understand.
I love my big nose.
Yeah.
It's part of the mob wife aesthetic.
Giggles.
All right. Let's get into the rest of the show.
Funny.
Yeah, it was a good time. Glad we did that today.
I giggled. I hope everybody
I did too.
else
I hope
laughed.
they giggled too. If only Trent was sitting here going,
yeah.
Show me the kisses, sweetheart. Francesca.
Ria.
We got a lot going on. Wedding planning in the mix.
We do.
Friends getting married. Family getting married. Everybody's getting married.
Weddings galore.
There's weddings galore for years to come now. To this year, next year, tons of weddings. And you may be also in the middle of maybe planning your own wedding, helping a friend plan their wedding. Maybe you're a maid of honor. Maybe you're a bridesmaid. A lot of wedding planning going on. With Zola, you can plan your entire wedding in one convenient place. From free planning tools like a customizable checklist and website to a venue and vendor discovery tool that matches you with your dream team, everything on Zola is designed to make your wedding journey as easy as possible. And with invites that are fun to create and a wedding registry packed with gifts you actually want, Zola takes you from save our date to thank you so much without breaking a sweat. There's even a 5-star app that helps you plan on the go. Zola makes wedding planning easy and stress-free. They're the first and only stop you need to make on your wedding planning journey, and they have you covered. They'll give you expert guidance and unparalleled support. The wedding pros on call to walk couples from question to answer anytime. And all the products and tools are built and designed for you. So start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com. Once again, start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another game of Beat Ria and Fran. This is game number 109, and we are joined by Kelsey and Tom. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
We've had a slew of technical difficulties, so we're just going to jump right into it and hope that nothing else pops up. We will be making no small talk. We tried and failed.
Yes. Time to get on with the show.
I'm sure you guys know, but 15 questions. If you get the question right, you get the point. If you get the question wrong, the other team can steal the point. Whoever has the most questions at the end wins. To determine who goes first, Noah's going to give us a movie. We each get our own individual guess of what the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes is for that movie. Whoever's the closest, their team will go first, and we will alternate between teams for everyone's individual guess. So, Noah, what is today's movie?
Today's movie is Palm Springs. Andy Samberg.
The Hulu movie.
Yes.
All right, so one of you goes first.
Yes.
I'm going to go 21.
I'm going to go 49.
Oh, sorry, that's me. I'm going to go 53.
I'm going to say 70.
Fran is the closest. It's 94.
Whoa!
Holy shit!
In my head, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's high. I did not think it was that high.
Wow.
It's a good movie.
It was a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
But
you just don't expect that.
Yeah,
you know?
I just didn't know. I didn't know it was a 94.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a 94.
Uh-huh. There's only so many, you know?
Okay. Question number 1 to Ria and Fran. Shout out Hallie from Clemson, and she actually has sent a lot of questions, so shout out to you.
Thank you.
Last year, Rihanna opened the Super Bowl halftime show with which song?
I was literally there.
Wait, shit, because this was such a debate, and
it was.
It was Bitch Better Have My Money.
Yes.
Bitch Better Have My Money.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Because then she said ballin' like LeBron, bigger than LeBron, and LeBron was there.
Okay.
I was in such a daze, I could not even tell you.
1-0.
Sometimes I'm like, damn, I was there. You know? Like I was out of body experience.
You saw history.
Right. It feels like I wasn't even there.
1-0 Ria and Fran. Question number 2 to Tom and Kelsey. Shout out Lizzie and Ren from College Station. What type of magazine does Dumbledore take from Slughorn's house at the beginning of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince?
It's all you.
I would just have to pull out a guess
This
here.
is a hard question.
Is it, my guess would be like Wizards Weekly?
Final answer.
Final?
Incorrect. To Ria Fran.
I don't know it. This is a hard question. It's like I don't know. I want to say it's like something to do with like agriculture or like I think I'm totally making
Sounds
that
The
up.
the wizarding world of
Yeah,
agriculture.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm making that up. I don't even have a guess.
Architectural
Wizard Digest.
Incorrect. Knitting.
Oh, knitting.
He's like, I love knitting.
Classic.
Is that was just the name of the magazine?
He just said like, I'm gonna take this knitting magazine or like something like that. Yeah, but it's knitting. Still 1-0 Ria and Fran. Question number 3 to them. Shout out Elizabeth from St. Louis. In season 3 of Friends, Monica ends up with what kind of bed after Phoebe signs for it without looking?
A race car bed. Let's just go with that. Race car bed.
Correct.
Nice. I trust you on the Friends question.
Just watched that
Sometimes,
episode,
you know.
like 2 days ago.
Oh,
Okay, question number 4. It's 2-0 Ria and Fran. This is to Tom and Kelsey. Shout out Nori from Scranton. In It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, what baseball player is Mac obsessed with throughout the entire series and eventually meets?
Never watched that.
Yeah, I've never watched that. I think it would be in there. I would think like an A-Rod. Well, Philadelphia.
15 seconds.
I have no idea.
Philly, I'll just go with Bryce Harper. Final.
Incorrect. So Ria and Fran.
I don't know this. Is it like Chase Utley? Kind of feel
That's a
like
good guess.
Kind of feel like it might be Chase Utley.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. Chase Utley, final answer?
Correct.
Nice.
Oh!
Wow.
Gosh.
My original thought was Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that's got to be the go-to.
Except, yeah,
But it
that
would have been
episode
too
But then
early.
he wasn't,
It's too early.
yeah.
Like, It's Always Sunny's been on for so long.
Yeah, the timing was
Yeah.
definitely off, but just had to throw it out.
Okay, 3-0 Ria and Fran. This is question number 5 to them. Shout out Hallie from Clemson again. Name this Disney Channel movie by the IMDb description. After he begins to grow fins and slimy scales on his 13th birthday, Cody learns that his birth mother
13th
is a
year.
mermaid.
13th year. Final
Correct.
answer. I like the
That one was,
format
yeah,
of
I like
that
the
question.
format, but very descriptive.
But yeah, like that.
13th birthday.
Yeah.
But good good
I do
format.
like that.
There's
that
more.
concept.
There's more to come from Hallie from Clemson in that
Okay.
format.
No,
That's a good
Not in this
yeah.
game, but just in general.
I do like that format.
Question number 6. It's 4-0 Ria and Fran to Tom and Kelsey now. Shout out Danielle from Hebron, Maine. In the movie Juno, what actor plays the prospective adopted father to the unborn child?
I haven't seen this in so long.
It's in 3 too.
It would be an actor at the time.
15 seconds.
Is it
It's not.
Adam Devine? Is he in that?
Guess it.
That just popped in my head. Adam Devine? Final answer?
Incorrect.
So
Ria and
the
Fran.
actual is Michael Cera.
Right.
So that's not the
But
answer.
it's the prospective adopt.
Oh, is it? Isn't it the?
Why can't I
Isn't
say
it
the
her
word adopt?
dad?
Right.
John Goodwin.
What is her dad? What?
15
Why did I
seconds.
think her dad was the guy from Whiplash?
Oh, is it?
I don't know. What's his name?
Fucking.
You know,
5 seconds.
Whiplash guy. 3-namer.
Time is up.
I got nothing.
It's not J.K. Simmons.
Oh, J.K. Simmons. Is J.K.
it's-
Simmons the dad? Am I making that
I think
up?
he might be, but that's not the answer. The answer
Oh.
is Jason Bateman
Oh.
Jason Bateman.
because he's the
It's
one
the
that
adoptive dad.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but we were kind of trying to run through all the characters.
Yeah.
Is J.K. Simmons in Juno? Can you check that for me?
Is John Goodman, not Goodwin.
Yeah. You just went with like
J.K. Simmons.
Okay. You just went with like generic dad in all TV
Goodman.
shows, movies.
Yeah, I did.
You just went, that guy is dad.
Yeah. All right, not it. All right.
Okay. 4-0 still, Ria and Fran. And this question is to them. Shout out Carly from Boston. In One Tree Hill, after Nathan gets signed to an NBA team, and before he even starts, he has an accident and is temporarily paralyzed. How did this happen?
Bar fight. Bar fight. He gets pushed through the glass window of the bar, paralyzed.
Cut.
Yep.
Final answer.
Temporarily.
Correct.
Yep. Good. Temporarily.
Honestly, one of my favorite seasons, which people very hard disagree with.
No, is that 5 or 6?
No, that's later on. That's not even. That's like after 6. When he gets.
I don't think it is.
No, because they're older. No.
Yeah, they are older, but it's like I think it's.
Because in 6,
it's not before Lucas and Peyton leave. Lucas and Peyton are all the way till season 6.
I thought it was after Lucas and Peyton leave.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, 5-0. Ria and Fran. This is to Tom and Kelsey. Shout out Hallie from Clemson. Which Modern Family star also appeared as a judge for season 15 of America's Got Talent?
I feel like Sarah Hyland would do that,
I feel like Sarah Hyland would do that.
right? I can't imagine the rest of them doing that.
Silly?
Which one? The mom?
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
10 seconds.
We'll just go Sarah Hyland. Final answer.
Incorrect. To Ria and Fran.
What was the question? Who's Modern Family? Who's guest judged? Sofia Vergara, right?
Oh my!
She's the main judge, wasn't she?
I didn't say guest judge. I said appeared as a judge for season 15 of America.
Oh, Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final
Sofia
answer.
Vergara. Final answer.
Correct.
I forgot she was even in that.
Also, it was beginning of season 5 is in a wheelchair.
Yes. That's right. Like they that is when they fast forward.
Okay, 6-0. Ria and Fran. This is question number 9 to them. Shout out Morgan from Hunterdon County, New Jersey, and baby Jenny, Chicks in the Office's newest fan. And I don't know if this...
Congratulations.
Yeah.
She had a baby.
Congrats.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I hope Jenny is...
It's probably Jenny.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it Ginny?
Yeah.
All right. Congrats.
Okay. In Wizards of Waverly Place, Uncle Kelbo can't stop turning into which celebrity?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Oh, shit. Is it,
I have no idea.
I'm picturing an older woman.
Older woman. Like old?
5
No.
seconds.
Oh,
Time's up.
I don't know.
Betty White.
Incorrect. It's Tom and Kelsey.
The way I was going to say Betty White.
Yeah. Which is not true.
No, but I feel like we were
thinking in
yes.
sync very, yeah.
No, he wouldn't be in that. I don't remember him making that. I can't even picture what Uncle Kelbo looks like. But like, I remember this happening.
A guy?
No, I think it is a girl.
10 seconds.
Who would be Disney?
Maybe like Debbie Ryan or something.
Go with it.
Debbie Ryan. Final answer.
Incorrect. Shakira.
Yes.
Oh
my God.
wow.
What, I remember that episode.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, when
That's
you hear it, it
hilarious.
comes back. But wow, I was
Not guessing
even
Shakira. My next
close
guess
to
was
Shakira.
going to be Reba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang.
Question number 10. And this is to Tom and Kelsey. I'm going to play a movie clip, and you tell me what movie it's from.
You know why I don't need one? Because there's no one that I'm in love with. It's called making love, isn't it? Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think that means that you do it with someone you love. And preferably when you're married. You know, when you're ready to take that love and turn it into a baby. Because that's what love is. It's that first moment when you hold your baby girl.
I can tell you who's in it, but I don't remember the name of it.
Who's in it?
No, is it 17 again? That was Zac Efron.
That was her. 17.
With,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Yeah.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
17 again, final answer.
Correct.
Classic.
There you go.
Classic film.
An
On the
all-time
board.
favorite.
One of the best.
Fran movie.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie like 100 times. I
Same.
think.
6-1.
As soon as I recognized it was Zac Efron, I was like,
Yeah, there's
oh,
only
okay.
so many options.
Yeah.
Okay, 6-1 Ria and Fran. This is to them. Question number 11. Shout out Elizabeth from St. Louis again. Name the actor or actress based on all of these works. Ocean's 13, Friends, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Spy Kids.
Actor or actress, that's tough. Spy Kids.
15 seconds.
Like nothing is coming to my brain.
5 seconds.
Antonio Banderas. Final answer.
Incorrect.
Dang.
Tom Kelsey.
Who's in Spy Kids? Let's see.
The original Spy Kids?
Yeah.
Like the first one.
Yeah.
What's that mom?
Spy Kids? I don't know. I don't even think I would know her name.
3 seconds. Time is
What's
up.
the guy who's the Yeah, I don't know.
George Clooney.
Are you kidding me?
George Clooney is in Spy Kids?
Clooney. I don't
He
remember
is.
him in Spy Kids.
We should just
I
guess
also
that.
haven't seen Spy Kids in forever.
I was goddamn Julia Roberts, but
If you see the picture of George Clooney in Spy Kids,
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yes, George Clooney.
you
Dang.
would remember it because he's like,
What was the second movie you
You should-
named?
I think he's
That's
like the guy
pretty
who
good.
gives him like the mission or something. He's like on the screen.
Yeah, yep.
Shit.
What was the second movie you said?
It was.
Friend. Oh no, it was Friends.
Friends.
Just like
Friends,
Friends.
yeah.
Friends. Yep.
Dang.
Damn.
Dang it.
Okay. Still 6-1. Ria and
That was a
Fran.
tough one.
Yeah.
And this is to Tom and Kelsey. Shout out Hallie from Clemson. In what year did Scarlett Johansson star in the following movies? Avengers Endgame, Jojo Rabbit, Marriage Story.
You're usually good at these year ones.
this is 2019
I think that's too late. Is it?
Endgame.
Well, no, that might be right.
15 seconds.
If that's it, wait, or that said then.
Yeah, 2019 final.
Correct.
I was gonna say.
I remember we all went to go see Endgame
Yeah,
together.
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
Okay, 6-2. Ria and Fran. Damn it. There's no possible way that they can win. I was trying to do the math. There's not enough questions.
Dang.
That's all right.
Okay. Question number 13 to Ria and Fran. And this is also from Morgan and Baby Ginny.
The way you're
The way you're so uncomfortable.
saying Baby Ginny is just like it's making me picture you with like a newborn baby. It's just making me laugh.
Okay. What nickname did Zach frequently call Maddie in The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody?
Is this us?
Yeah.
Sweet thing.
Yes. Final answer.
Correct.
Count me in for Sweet
You
Life
just
of
hear
Zach
him
and
saying
Cody
it.
question.
And right? And that's what really roped him in for you.
Yeah. And I was under his spell.
Yeah.
Okay, 7-2, Ria and Fran. This is to Tom and Kelsey. Shout out Elizabeth from St. Louis. What is the name of Taylor Swift's brother?
Austin.
Yeah.
Lionel.
Correct.
Shout out Austin
Would you guys
Swift.
have gotten that?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know how well known that is.
Yes.
He was just at the game.
Yeah.
He was dressed as Santa.
He dressed up as
His
Santa.
name is in the. It's been in
Wait,
a
he was
lot.
at the game?
Well, he went to the game before
Christmas
Christmas. He bought
A
a
few
sack
weeks ago.
Yeah.
for Travis. He took the movie out the sack like he was
He bought
Santa.
he bought Travis a VHS. He talked about it on
Oh
the,
wow,
on
I
the
missed all
pod.
this. Okay.
She only has one sibling, so
Yeah, we had another question that was like cousins or something.
yeah. Apparently, a lot of cousins. There was a second
Yeah.
cousin claiming
Oh, I
that
saw
that's
that.
how
Yeah.
they met.
Okay, 7-3, final
Which
question.
Travis did say family member.
This is to Ria Fran. Shout out Tatum from Cockeysville. In the 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie, who helped SpongeBob and Patrick get back to Bikini Bottom?
It's the daughter of the king. What's her name?
Oh,
Melody?
I like Melody. I like Melody.
I just
10 seconds.
Melody.
yeah.
Melody.
Incorrect.
Mermaid Melody.
David Hasselhoff. Aren't they like on the beach or something?
Not in the movie.
Is that not right?
No, it's like when they're going like with the balloon and stuff. That's what I'm thinking of. Remember the? So you don't know.
I guess I don't know. I thought I knew. Don't know.
15 seconds.
I think he's right too. I think he's right.
All right, we'll just go with David Hasselhoff. Final.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the movie.
They ride on David Hasselhoff's butt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, damn, right on his butt cheeks.
Final score 7-4.
What is
Ria
the
Fran.
character that I'm thinking of?
I'm not sure.
Were you
Is
thinking
her
of a
na-
squirrel?
No, the squirrel.
Sandy?
Don't disgrace
No,
Sandy
'cause-
like that. The squirrel. Can you tell no one never watched SpongeBob?
I can't believe you never watched SpongeBob. Still.
I've seen it.
Yeah, but you don't know the lore. The SpongeBob background.
Mindy.
So close.
I was so close.
Melody,
Played by
Mindy.
Scarlett Johansson.
It's Melody, Mindy,
Yeah,
Sandiff.
same vibe.
Yeah,
But it is, yes, David
yeah,
Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff.
Great movie.
All right.
All
another
right, that
W.
wraps it up.
But honestly, you guys like came back to make
Yeah,
it
you were
respectable, 'cause it
coming back.
was-
Yeah.
If you had a little more, if you had a few
I
more
knew
questions.
like all of the other questions.
Yeah, the questions you guys got, like it all started.
I know
off-
it all.
Yeah.
That
was like,
that
of course.
That's the
that
importance.
Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
draw ends up being more important than
than you think.
than
Right.
it seems. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for playing. We're still gonna send you some merch.
Yes,
So
thank you for being at our events and
Yes.
showing up. We really
Everything.
appreciate it.
Thank you for sticking with us through all the
Yeah.
technical
Yes.
difficulties.
You come
Everything.
back to LA.
Yes.
We
We
will be.
might be.
Yeah. So stay
That's why I
tuned for
said
that.
yes.
And we'll send you guys some merch. So if you get a chance, just send Noah your address and sizes, and we'll get that sent to you.
Or as he would say,
No,
Or-
yeah,
Or-
yeah, yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
all right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys. This interview is presented by Coors Light. When you're juggling work and family, life in general, things can feel chaotic. That's why Coors Light helps you find moments to reset and refresh all year long. Whenever you need to hit reset, reach for a Coors Light. It's made to chill. There's only one beer out there that's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. Right here, I got the cold can. In my hand, the mountains are blue. It's crisp. It's cold. We're going into another weekend, guys. It is time to pop open a nice cold Coors Light. Relax. Kick your feet up. Enjoy your weekend. Maybe you had a busy work week. You want to decompress a little bit. Maybe you have big plans this weekend. You're going out. You're drinking some Coors Light. There's big football games on. Pizza night, making sure that fridge is stocked with Coors Light. So when it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer we reach for. So when you want to hit reset, grab the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/chicks. And always celebrate responsibly from Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Jay Shetty, host of On Purpose, the podcast, and author. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're
I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to talk to you today, so thanks for coming in.
Yeah, really grateful to be here.
Yes, we're super excited. We've been a fan of yours because your stuff is, you're always going to see it. Like your content is pushed out to everybody. You have a worldwide audience, which is incredible, and it's very hard to do. And I feel like so many people see podcast clips, or like Ria said, your books, all these things, you're very face fronting as well. So we see it, but it seems like instant success to us, right? Because we see your millions of followers. We're like, oh my God, this guy is huge. It must have just happened like that. And maybe a lot of people don't know your whole story. So I want to get into your background a little bit and what built you into Jay Shetty, the amazing podcast host and best-selling author. So what even, like, what pulled you in this direction to have this wellness type of approach to your content?
Absolutely. Well, I want to start off by saying thank you for having me. What you guys are doing is crushing it. It's amazing. Everyone on my team is massive fans.
Amazing.
So they were so excited for this collaboration too. So I was really looking forward to it.
Maybe not as deep of conversations that you get into,
right.
You know,
we're all serving in our own way.
It all.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a great question. I'm glad I get to talk about that with you because I don't always get to talk about that side of the journey. And so I think for me, ever since I started learning about, I was really lucky. In my teens, I started reading a lot of great books. And so I was reading everything from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X, all the way through to David Beckham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So I had this wide breadth of people that I was studying. And I was always fascinated by stories and how people went through challenges and how they overcame them. And so I kind of got into that world of psychology and personal growth fairly early. And I think for me, it all really hit when I was 18, where I've shared this story many times, but it was the first time I'd ever met a monk. And a monk was invited to speak at my university. And I'd never heard a monk speak. I was not interested in hearing a monk speak. I didn't think I had anything to gain from a monk, but some of my friends were going because they'd started to get interested in meditation. This is 2007, so very, very early on. And I said to my friends, I said, I'd only go if we go to a bar afterwards. Like that was my negotiation tactic. And that's the level of consciousness that I was in. And so my friends were persuasive. They agreed. And I went to this event kind of thinking like, all right, it's going to be a waste of time and we'll leave in a couple of hours. And I went there and I found something I wasn't looking for, as cheesy as it sounds. I went there and I was just like, wow, this guy makes a lot of sense. Like he has a lot to offer. And so that was my entrance into studying ancient wisdom, and I was already fascinated by modern science. And then as soon as that moment happened, I started giving small seminars and doing small events at my college. So this is before YouTube, before podcasting, before social media. And so I would put up posters at my university with saying, this is the room to come to, it's totally free. And you have no idea who I am, but I'm going to talk about this subject. And the subject could be love and relationships, it could be psychology, it could be philosophy or whatever. And when I started, around 10 students would come, maybe 12. And then by the time I finished, there were like 50 to 100 students coming every single week. And it was completely free. There was no followers. There was no subscription. It was just, and so that's kind of how it started, where there was this passion to want to share what I was learning and this passion to build community. And it started very physically and analog in real life.
Now, was this an instant move, or did you kind of sit with it and then you realize, oh, that was really interesting. I can't stop thinking about what I just heard and now I want to do something with it?
It wasn't instant at all. It was far more what you just said, where it was, I almost went, I need to study this human being who I'm completely enthralled by. And so I was just trying to spend every moment I could speaking to him, learning from him, reading his work, learning about the books that he was recommending. And so I spent a lot of time deep diving into that philosophy. And then I started to practice it. And when I felt that it was benefiting my life, I was like, now's the time to share it. And so it wasn't as instant as it just sounded, where it was like, oh, I just found this, I'm sharing it. It was more me internalizing the practice of it, starting to meditate myself, and then coming back and thinking, wow, this is life-changing, and I hope that it could help a lot of people.
What was your friend's reaction? Because they brought you and they were like, wow, look who really enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, they were like, they want all the credit now. They're like, yeah, that was my moment. Like, we made that happen. And I'm like, you did, you know, the friend who took me, he was my best man at my wedding. I still talk to him 4 times a week. He's based in London, and I owe him my life. Like, I'm grateful to him, because anything that I've achieved or received in this life wouldn't be possible without him. So yeah, he does get the credit.
What was the feedback like from the monk who you were connecting with? Because I'd imagine for someone like that, going to colleges and speaking. I'm sure you do get positive feedback, but he probably goes to a lot of places where they're like, we do not care about this at all. Like we're, this generation where they could totally zone out. What was his feedback like on that connection?
Yeah, it's really interesting you asked that, because I think at the time I thought he would be used to it, because it's almost like when you're attracted to someone, you assume they're used to that, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like if you're into someone, you think, oh yeah, they must get this all the time.
Because you're like, of course everybody would like them because I like them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then when I've talked to him, and I still have a great relationship with him now, when I've talked to him afterwards and when he's been asked about it, he was slightly confused as to why a young person from London was that keen and that interested. And so he was kind of like, well, what was it that was sparking you? Like, why were you that intrigued and curious? Like, he was quite surprised that I was that leaned in. And I think, if I'm completely honest, when I've looked back and, when I was 18 years old and into everything that every 18-year-old's into, I think the only thing that struck me was he was that powerful and had that level of presence that kind of penetrated beyond that kind of thick veil you have as an 18-year-old of I'm cool and I've got everything and I don't need anything. And it broke through that because of his presence. And so, again, I think he gets the credit for holding that space for me to be able to access something that I didn't know existed.
Now, you started doing the seminars. You said it grew. Students found out about it. How do you then go, okay, I'm getting a lot of people here. This grew from 10 to 20, 50, 100. I want the world to find out about this. What was your first step getting into that?
So I still didn't ever believe, like, to me, getting 10 students at university to come and hear me talk about these ideas, that was amazing. Like, that was just like the most incredible feeling in the world. And I never really believed it could be bigger than that, if I'm completely honest. I thought having 50 students in a room was the peak of what it could be. And then I went and lived as a monk for 3 years. So I literally, after I graduated, traded my suits for robes and chose not to go into the world of work, and lived across India and the UK living as a monk for 3 years. And so I completely went inward. So I went the other way. It wasn't like, oh, we've got to 50 to 100 people now, how can we take it to the world? I almost went, this has really impacted my life. How can I go and deeply study it and imbibe these principles? And I went for two reasons. One was when I was interning at corporate companies, which is what I thought I would do before I took that path. I was doing internships and not feeling satisfied. Like, I'd end an internship and I wouldn't feel that great about it. I was like, cool, like it will make good money and it ticks the boxes.
Put it on the resume.
My mom and dad will be happy and the resume looks good, but it doesn't fuel me. And then when I'd come back from spending time, I would go and spend time with the monk in the monastery just in my summer and Christmas breaks. I'd always come back feeling rejuvenated and alive. And so I thought, I've got to listen to this. Like, I can't ignore the fact that I feel a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction when I do this, and I feel drained when I do that. And so when I took that plunge and made that decision, I kind of wasn't thinking at all about how I was going to share this with the world. I was almost thinking, how do I learn to master my mind? And how do I learn to live a life of service? Because those were the two key tenets of monk life. The ability to master your mind and your senses and control your habits, and the ability to spend your life impacting and serving other people. So I almost went the other way. Right. And then there's, I'm obviously speeding through this, but it was 3 years later when I left the monastery that I moved back in with my parents in London. I was age 25 going on 26. I was in $25,000 worth of debt from my student loan. And I knew that if you stay a monk until you're 50, you don't have to pay off your student loan in the UK. So that was the plan, but I failed by like 25 years. And so I came back to the reality of, okay, I have to pay my student debt and I have to figure this out. And I applied to all the companies that I would have got a job at before. Right. And after I got rejected by about 40 companies, I finally got a job at a consulting firm called Accenture. But when I went there, there was still this desire in my heart of, I need to share what I've learned, because when I came back, all my friends externally looked like they were winning. So my friends were moving into fancy apartments, they were dating, they had a good car, they were getting promoted at work. But when I reconnected with them, they were just like, Jay, I'm experiencing depression. I'm stressed out. I feel like there's too much pressure. I'm struggling at work, even though it looks like I'm winning. And I was just like, wait a minute, everything I learned could help that person. So that's when that idea came as to like, could I use this to help other people?
Yeah, and you see that a lot. They always say like, especially when it comes to fame and success, people act like those people can't be struggling. It's kind of the same thing with the people in your own life when you feel like they have the best job and they make it seem like they have the best life. And then on the inside, they could be really drained. The contrast of being a monk and then, you know, you fast forward a little bit and you have all this success, right? And success comes with a lot of things, fame, money, the notoriety. Are there ever times that you deal with, and they call it like maybe imposter syndrome, right? Where you're like, well, I was dedicating my life to being a monk, acts of service, you know, giving myself to other people. And now I'm receiving all these things and you deserve it all. Absolutely. Do you ever struggle with that?
I mean, all the time. And I'm more than happy to go back and kind of pinpoint some more parts of the journey if you want to, based on the original question you asked, which I really appreciate. But yeah, all the time. I mean, I've struggled with imposter syndrome and rewiring my belief system around so many things. Like, I grew up in a world where I believed that people who had money did something dodgy to get it, or that they were doing something shady. And my extended family was kind of like that. If we went to someone's house that was nice, they'd always be like, yeah, they don't pay their taxes. And so I had this belief system that generally people who had money or wealth or whatever it may be may not have got it for the right reason. Yeah, cheat the system. And that was a real mindset. And then obviously when I lived as a monk, you're not pursuing money at all. You're just serving and helping. And then when I came back to the real world, there was a moment in my life where I had 150 million views on my video, but I was 4 months away from being broke. And I was just like, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to go back and get a real job again to try and do what I love. And that doesn't make sense. Like, how I'm gonna give up impact, I'm gonna give up my passion, I'm gonna give up the things I'm fascinated by because I have a block with my relationship with money, which is simply energy. But I have a mindset that isn't helpful in how I interact with this. So I've had imposter syndrome around that. I've had imposter syndrome around how am I sitting at this table? Like, I remember being at this event a few years ago, and there was a fundraiser for a beautiful cause to help gorillas in Rwanda, which was set up by Ellen. And Ellen and James Corden were hosting this amazing fundraiser, and everyone in LA who you'd expect to be there was in the audience. And I was sitting at a table, and I'm literally three people down from Leonardo DiCaprio, and I didn't say hello to him the whole night, like, because I was just like, what am I doing at this table? Like, I'm at this really meaningful event that's really beautiful because we're doing something special, but I don't know if I belong here. And so I didn't even say hello. And now I regret it because I love Leo and I'm a huge fan, and like Catch Me If You Can is one of my favorite movies, but I've never said, I couldn't even say that because I didn't know how to say that. And that was, I think that was like, what, 5 years ago now, something like that. And so I think I have imposter syndrome in many different ways. And the only thing I've learned through that imposter syndrome is two things. One is it's showing me a skill that I need to learn. It's showing me that there's something that I still need to learn. And on the other side, it's keeping me humble. It's keeping my ego in check. And I'm really glad I feel that way because I still pinch myself when I have amazing moments and I don't take them for granted.
It's kind of crazy how the brain works because, like you mentioned, you know, growing up, you're like, that person has a lot of money. Oh, they must have done something. And it's weird how you can almost convince yourself, even though you're an amazing person and you do a lot of great things for other people and you're okay with yourself on one hand. On the other hand, you're going, I don't deserve this. But why, you know, but why not? And you're right. That is something that I think a lot of people can learn. I think we've, you know, a ton of people struggle with that.
That's really wise. I love that.
I want to go back to the conversation. You use the term like real job, right? And I think we joke about that too. Like you're a podcast host, you're like, this real job. So what?
That's a great point. Good listening.
Where did you have that internal battle to say like, I am going to try and teach myself that it is okay to do something else? Because I think we have a lot of young listeners, and that stigma where you come out of college or whatever it is and you need to get a quote real job. You need to make money, you need to do this, whatever dreams, passions you have to put them on the back burner because you need to get a real job. So how did you mentally get through that, and what do you think is a way for young people to kind of get out of that mindset of like, I have to get a real job?
I love this conversation. I don't get to talk about this much, so thank you. I love this. This is awesome. And so after my monk detour, I got the real job, right? So I'm at Accenture, which is a big consulting firm It's the kind of firm that you'd want to get into after college. It's, you know, it's now they have like 1 million employees worldwide.
Yeah.
So it's huge. And I get a job, but I'm 25 going on 26 and I've got a entry-level position. So I'm on the grad scheme, even though I'm a 25, 26-year-old graduate and everyone else is 21 years old. So already I'm feeling like, gosh, I'm older than everyone. I'm already behind. I've got to keep up with everything. While I'm there, I'm doing the job, like I'm doing the day-to-day task, but I can't help but share meditation with people and talk about what I learned as a monk. And so what was so beautiful about that company is that they were really prioritizing mental health. And this is back in 2013, 2014. Yeah. And so when they discovered what I did, they were asking me to lead meditation sessions at work and lead mindfulness sessions at work. Now, granted, the first one that I ran, only 2 people showed up, but it was amazing. I was feeling so happy. There were like 2 people in a room. They were super keen to learn, and I led a mindfulness session for them. I then remember that some of the guys started to hear about what I was doing, and some of them played rugby, and rugby's a big sport in the UK, and you know it's kind of like our version of American football, I guess. And a lot of the rugby lads were not very like, well, what's mindfulness, what's meditation?
Right.
And so I remember one of them coming up to me and he said to me, he goes, Jay, look, like, you know, I'm not sure that this mindfulness thing is for me, but everyone's saying it's good for me and like maybe I should try it out. But he's like, I don't want to come to one of your public sessions. Like it needs to be just me and you because no one can know I'm doing meditation. No one can know. Yep. So I was like, all right then, so we'll do that. And so we set up this session and we're doing it in a meeting room at work. And you know, the lights are off and we're in this quiet room together teaching meditation. And then all of a sudden, like everyone who we didn't want to know walked in through the door, saw us sitting in a dark room together, turned on the lights and was like, what are you guys doing?
What's going on here?
And so what started to happen was I started to share it with real people in the real world. And I started to see value in it. And I started to see how it benefited my friends and colleagues' lives. I had people coming out to me going, Jay, that's helped me so much. Like, oh, thank you so much for teaching me that breathing technique. Thank you so much for leading that session. It's helping me in my relationship with my mom or my friend or whatever it may be. And so I think the first step is you have to start seeing value in what you want to offer. Otherwise, you don't get confidence. It's not like you get confidence from doing something crazy. You get confidence by sharing what you care about in a really small, controlled, safe space. And you get a miniature amount of feedback. I'm sure when you guys started doing this, I'm guessing there were moments where it was just with a really small group of people. Maybe you kind of played the role you do here with your friends. Maybe this is the personality you had when you were at a party and you naturally found people gravitating towards both of your opinions and asking you questions. And so I think it's testing it in that safe space. After doing that, I thought to myself, I was like, I need this to reach more people. So I started applying to trainee video journalist positions at media companies in the UK. I didn't really realize that you could build your own brand or have your own platform. So I was pitching my idea to media companies across the UK and saying, look, I want to make mindfulness video ideas. Here's a concept. Here's an idea. I'm happy to work for anything. This is a key point. I think a lot of people get locked into the golden handcuffs. And I think the golden handcuffs of getting a good salary, having a job that sounds good at a party and makes your parents happy actually blocks you from being able to pivot and follow your bliss or follow something that inspires you. And so I think a big part of it was me saying, you know what, I actually don't care if you don't pay me. I'll work for free. I'll work for anything because I just want to get my break. I just want to have an opportunity. And what I found was 10 media companies rejected me and said no because they said, you don't have a communications background. You don't have any experience in video making, like you're out. And then I was networking with 3 media execs and one of them told me I was too old. I was 28 because he said, everyone's 21 who wants this gig, you're too old. One of them told me I was too unexperienced or inexperienced. And then one of them told me, he said, well, you have a safe job. Why would you get into media? It's so unsafe. And so I was getting all of this rejection. So I ended up at a ethnic minorities TV training day run by the BBC in the UK. So basically this was a TV presenter training day for brown and black people and, you know, people of color. And I ended up in a room probably this size, like 5 or 6 people in the room. And they had presenters teaching us in TV presenting. And at the end of it, they were like, Jay, you've got some really good presenting skills. So I was like, give me a job in media. And they were like, there's no jobs in media. I was like, wait a minute, you called 6 brown and black people here to tell us there's no jobs in media. And then one of them said to me, she said, well, why don't you start a YouTube channel? And I was like, yeah, that works for like 1 in a billion people,
Right,
like Justin
right.
Bieber. Like,
Right.
that's not gonna like.
The classic
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not gonna work for
You're
me.
like, I don't sing, I don't dance.
I don't play instruments that well. Like, you know, I'm not a cute 12-year-old. Like
You
whatever
don't
it is.
have
Like,
the tapes of when you were 4 years old presenting.
and I wish I did, but I don't
Yeah.
have any of that. And so I'm like, what do I do? And so I got to a point, and I love this piece of wisdom from Thomas Edison. He said that when you feel you've exhausted all options, remember this, you haven't. And I love that idea of when you think you've got no options left, you still got to find the other one. Like there's still one more. And I think for me, I ended up where I tried every option apart from starting a YouTube channel. And so I think the kind of lessons that I see there are, first of all, test what you care about in a safe space so that you don't feel judged and you're not dealing with the repercussions. Second of all, don't get blocked by the golden handcuffs of like, oh, I get paid enough. I don't want to take a pay cut. I don't want to try something out, because you're going to end up in a career path that is only going to get more and more restricting and limiting. And then thirdly, allow yourself to realize that your path may not look like someone else's. Like people who are listening to you right now, their path towards what they want to do doesn't look like yours and doesn't look like mine. They're going to find it, but they've got to be open to what is that random step or choice that they're going to need to make. I don't know if that resonates.
Yeah, no,
sense.
definitely does. So YouTube comes into your life. You start making stuff on your own. And that can be very scary. Like you said, you're putting yourself out there. You're getting feedback from strangers, right? What was your immediate reaction to the outside feedback? Because it sounds like up until then, it was a very controlled environment that you were passing along this advice and the wisdom and the meditation. It's, people you work with, people you go to school with. Now it's the outside world. It's user 894688979, and they're like, this
No
is
profile
dumb. Like,
picture.
how do you push past that to keep doing what you're doing?
Yeah. Oh my God. The comment saying cringe. Like that was like, it's just, it's like, get used to the word cringe. It was really hard. I think when I first put out my first video, which was exactly 8 years ago now, so 2016 was when I published my first video. And I was just so excited that I put something out that I was quite proud of. I had my friend who films weddings film it for me for free. So he did me a favor. And he then was teaching me how to edit. And so I edited it myself. So I did the sound, I did the clips, the B-roll, like all of that kind of stuff on my own, which I didn't know how to do. So it took me way too long.
Right.
This is like when you're editing 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for 1 5-minute video.
Right,
Like that's how I was editing. And I put it out and I was just so excited that I'd put something out and I was really proud of it. And, it didn't get loads of views or whatever. It got like maybe, I don't know, like 100 views, or maybe worked its way up to like 1,000 views, which to me was like amazing.
Yeah, of course.
And I was really, really happy with that. And I didn't judge it, or I wasn't like, how am I going to get more? I was just like, how do I make more? And the hardest thing really when I started, and I think this is true for a lot of people, was actually the feedback from my friends and family. So I had people around me saying, Jay, you talk too fast in the video, or the music editing's not right. It's too loud in these places. Or, that point, the way you moved your head was a bit cringe. Or, so it was the people in my own life.
Yeah.
And I think when I talk to people now, because I have a lot of friends who are trying to make content or whatever it may be, their biggest fear is, what are our friends going to say?
Right.
Of course.
Right? Like that's your biggest fear.
I always say I can go in front of a room of strangers and not care what I say. But as soon as my family and friends are there, it's like, what? Because they're going to give you the honest truth.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I went on a world tour last year and we did nearly like 40 shows across 80 cities across the world. And London was the one I turned up for the most. Because I was like, all my mates are going to be in this audience. They're going to heckle the most out of anyone. So I've got to turn up for this. And so I think partly it was me recognizing and how difficult it is to deal with the people you know and love saying those things. And I think, unfortunately, there's no way around it because they are going to do that. It's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't care about you. It's just because they're wired to try and protect you in themselves. And so they're trying to flag to you the thing that other people are going to say. And then when I was seeing comments from other people, I think initially I just took it as, well, at least there's other people interested.
Right.
And I really early on kind of nurtured this aspect of, I may never be able to convince someone who thinks I'm cringe, dumb, or hates me to think what I'm doing is meaningful. And I'm actually okay with that. But there are people out there who think what I'm doing is worthwhile and helpful and it supports them. And I'm doing it for those people. I actually don't want to convince anyone to believe in what I say. I'm not trying to debate anyone. If someone doesn't like what I do, I'm so at ease with that, because I think we all find what we need in our own ways. And I may not be that way for people. But for the people that do feel my work impacts them, those are the people I'm trying to win for. And so I tried to approach it from day one with that mindset, and I still feel that way about it.
It's almost like the two people who willingly showed up at your job.
Totally.
And then the one guy who's like, this needs to be in a dark room. Nobody can see me. You have the people that are interested, and maybe they're not loud about it, but they are there.
Yeah.
Now that you've been doing this, you said since 2016, it has become your job. Do you still love it as much as you did in the beginning, or do you have your ups and downs with it?
I'd say I love it more, because I think that one of the biggest things, and when you were talking about giving it, like accepting it's a real job, I think that was the difference where I went from just making content to actually getting organized. And I'm sure you guys have felt that transition of, like, I remember when all I had to do was make 3 videos a week, and that's all I did. And it didn't make any money. It didn't cost, it cost a little bit of money, whatever it was. But then I went to being like, okay, I want this to be real. And I think that decision was really, really important, because I realized I didn't want to do anything else with my life. I wanted this to be the way I serve, the way I impact, the way I make a difference. And it's what I wanted to grow up and do every day. And so I would say I still love it, because I think we found a way to pivot and grow constantly. So I think when I started out, I started on YouTube. Then what my career really took off for was Facebook videos. And so Facebook went through this boost in 2018 when everyone thought it was really uncool. And Facebook was the one platform that was working for me. So I went all in on Facebook when everyone was like, Facebook's not the platform. And it ended up being one of my biggest platforms. So I'm really grateful to everyone who watched me on Facebook. And then with the success of Facebook, we then grew YouTube and Instagram. And then I put my effort into Instagram. And so what I found was, when everyone was trying to be a YouTuber, I was happy being a Facebooker, if that's even a thing.
Right.
And then that allowed us to build all the other platforms as well. And so often I think now everyone's like, I want TikTok to win. I want TikTok to win. But maybe your platform's going to be LinkedIn.
Maybe it's Reels.
Maybe it's Reels. Like maybe it's none of those. And maybe it's, I don't know, like some X, right? Whatever it is, like it could be something completely different. And I think I love it more because I didn't want to let a platform define my work. And that's because I didn't start social media in order to get views. I only use social media because no one else would give me a shot to share my message anywhere else. So I didn't come into this going, I'm going to get loads of followers and this is going to be my career. I got into it saying, I have a message to share, and this may be the only place anyone's ever going to give me a chance. And so I enjoy it because we went from doing YouTube to Facebook to Instagram to launching the podcast to me writing my books. So I don't see myself as bound to a platform or a medium. And that's what brings me joy, is that an algorithm or a platform can't define me sharing my message. And that's why it's still fun.
Right. There's so many more steps, different platforms to reach. You can always reach more. And like you said, you start off with YouTube, you go to Facebook, it's all these different social media platforms, and then podcasts become huge. And you wrote your books. Now I want to talk about you writing your books, but I also want to know about the guests on your podcast, how you got connected with such guests. I mean, you have everybody on there from all sides of the spectrum. How?
Good question. I'm glad we're talking about this. So when I launched the podcast, it's 5 years now. So I launched it in 2019 and I launched it because, so we'd been making these 3-minute videos on Facebook pretty much since like 2016, 2017. And it was doing exceptionally well, but I felt like I couldn't communicate what I'd learned and what I wanted to share in 3 minutes. I was just like, 3 minutes is so limiting. And now we're at 30 seconds, right, with Reels and things. So at that time,
it's just gotten shorter.
It goes back and forth. They want it to be long, but then nobody can hold their attention anymore. It goes back
TikTok,
to short.
they're like, oh, TikTok videos, they're minutes. Can't go over that. Then they go, 3 minutes. Oh, now you can post 10 minutes on TikTok.
So this was when 3 minutes was the attention span. And I was thinking, I have more to share. I want to talk about more things. I want to be able to discuss things in depth and nuance, because sometimes a 3-minute video, someone watching that, you know, it's not going to it may give them a spark, but it's not going to help them build a habit or build a discipline, whatever it may be. So I was like, okay, I want to do long form content, and podcasting seemed to be the way to go. And so I came up with this idea of my show, and I pitched it to lots of different podcast networks. Not to Barstool, not because I didn't, as in not because I didn't know them or whatever it was. I pitched it to some podcast networks, and they all said no, because they were like, Jay, people listen to you for 3 minutes. No one wants to listen to you for an hour.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they told me. And so we ended up in a position where we thought we were going to launch with a big podcast network, and I came back from vacation probably around this time, and 2 weeks before the podcast was meant to go live, where I'd already recorded episodes, I'd put my own money into it, they turned out and said, Jay, we're pulling out because we don't think it's going to be a big podcast. We think you're a Facebook creator. And that was really like painful to hear, because I'd put in so much work, I'd really thought about it, and it was gutting because we were 2 weeks away from launch. And I said to myself, all right, we're going to launch anyway. Like, we're going to do this ourselves. And so that's kind of the realities of where it was at. And my first guest on my show was my wife. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want my first guest to set the precedent for the type of guest. I wanted my first guest to be someone who's, you know, in my life, who I've known, you know, we've been together now for 11 years. And, you know, at the time we'd been together for a bunch of time. And I was just like, yeah, I want her to be the first guest. Then the other couple of guests that we had a couple of big guests to start with, but they were all people I'd known offline. And so we had Novak Djokovic, the tennis player, but I'd known him offline. We'd connected on WhatsApp and DM'd each other. And then I'd met him in Monaco where we hung out and we'd filmed the podcast. And what started to happen early on is I always believed, and I want to throw this out there for all podcasters, there's two things I've always believed, and these things have wasted my time and misled me in my career. The first is I always believed that there would be a manager or an external person who would transform my life, spot my talent, and change my career. That person doesn't exist. That person is you. And stop trying to find that person. Like, taking that responsibility is life-changing. And the other thing I believe for my podcast is there would be a booker, a professional booker, who you could pay to book guests because what they do for work. It doesn't work. And so I would genuinely reach out to people who followed me on Instagram and DM them. So whoever you've seen as a guest on the show has either been a personal DM by me and sending them messages saying, hey, thank you for following my work. And they've followed me in some capacity. They've seen a video or whatever else it may be. And I'll reach out to them and I'll say, hey, thank you so much for following my work. I'd really appreciate having a conversation with you if they follow me. I also have unlimited DMs to Cristiano Ronaldo, who does not follow me, asking him to be on my podcast because I've been a huge fan for years. So there's also that version of it. But the point is, it's all come from genuine relationships. It's not come from, it's not come from finding a way. It's come from just reaching out to people personally and saying, this is why I think we'd have a great conversation. And sometimes, more often than not, it's a lot of people that I have an offline relationship with where we've connected, we've had deep conversations, we've really got to know each other. And then we're like, hey, we should record this conversation and put it on the podcast. So that's honestly been it. So I'm happy to tell you any stories specifically, but that's kind of how it's
tough.
gone.
Like, it's a tough balance because you create this offline relationship. And anytime you take an offline relationship and put it online, it can be scrutinized, or fans expect certain questions to be asked. How do you balance like maintaining a actual friendship with a lot of these people and then asking them to be on your show and say like, hey, I'm kind of asking you to be extremely vulnerable on a public platform, and a lot of these people that you have on are very private people. You see these names, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they're on here talking about their mental health and doing this is not something that they normally do. What are those pre-show conversations like, and how do you manage keeping them in a comfortable position where you're like, oh God, I want to ask this question, but I'm kind of nervous to ask it?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say how grateful I am to all the guests that have trusted our space in order to do that, because I don't undervalue how hard it is for them to do that as well. And so I think I come at it from a point of compassion and empathy, whereby I get how hard it is to be that open and vulnerable when you have that many eyeballs on you. I have nothing on me compared to what my guests have on them. And so I can't imagine what that feels like. So I have to show them a bit of respect for that and appreciate that. I think the second thing I'd say is we made a rule early on where we were like, we don't want to ask the question that we think everyone wants to ask.
Right.
We actually want to ask the question beneath that and deeper than that and beyond that, because that's the point of our conversation. And I often tell this story to people before the show because it's really important. I remember speaking years ago, probably in 2017 or 2018 at a conference called Building Meaningful Lives. And it was a conference run by the Milken Institute. And there was Tom Brady was on before me. And I don't know Tom Brady. I still don't know Tom Brady. And he was talking about his life. He was talking about his sports career. And then he was starting to talk about what you would be considering more meaningful things. And he was being encouraged to keep talking about the game and the rings and the sports. And you'd hear him do that. And then he'd start talking about meaningful things to him again. And I found that he wasn't allowed to go as deep as he wanted to go because there wasn't a space for that. And I started to realize that often when people go on a show or whatever it may be, they get 3 minutes to talk about something and they don't get the context and the space to talk about what they cared about. So I often share this story with my guests. And I say to them, my only goal of this podcast is for you to show your true heart and what you deeply care about. That's my goal. Because I believe that there's beauty and goodness and power in every individual. And I think we often don't get to see it because we're scared of showing it, because we're scared of how much we'll be judged or everything else that comes with it. And so I'm really coming at it from a point of compassion and empathy, not just for my guests, but for my audience too. I really believe, going back to what you said earlier, we often don't feel we deserve things. And I think when we make space for others, we're making space for ourselves. And when we make space for ourselves, we're making space for others. And so this is kind of how I set up this space. And I'm just grateful for anyone who's ever trusted me in my space. I don't take it for granted. I don't take advantage of it, and I don't exploit it. And I'm thankful that I hope we can continue to be a safe, deep, vulnerable space where people are talking about the hardest things, but feeling like it will be heard, if that makes sense.
And I think everybody loves and appreciates your podcast for those reasons, because it really humanizes a lot of your guests. It's like, you know, we have a lot of guests on here where, like you mentioned, there's, you know, a booker in place and they're promoting a movie or a TV show. And those are so much fun to talk about. And, you know, we love to watch every movie and TV show that anybody puts out. But sometimes it feels like they're instructed to only talk about that and they can't go deeper sometimes. And maybe they really want to go deeper, but their person is in the corner going, oh no, no, cut it off. So it really is great that you have that space to allow people to feel really comfortable.
Yeah, and by the way, I love those interviews too.
Yeah.
Like I love watching a press round for a movie that I'm really excited about. And like,
it gets everybody excited.
Yeah, totally.
There's something for everyone.
Exactly. I don't think this is about, I don't have any belief in thinking that what I'm doing is the best or it should be done this way, or I genuinely don't carry that with me. I think there's so much stuff that I'm into. Like I love late shows. Yeah. Like James Corden to me is one of my favorite hosts, and I love that show. And I think whether it's carpool karaoke or spill your guts, like I'm a huge, I
you need something light and easy.
Different mediums, but still they're effective in their own way. Like people
depending on the mood.
Yeah, exactly.
I consume all of this stuff is my point. Like,
exactly.
And
I think most of us do too. Sometimes you want to, you're in that space where you want to hear a deeper conversation, but then maybe you watch a carpool karaoke with somebody and you're like, oh my God, that was so funny. And then you Google them and realize, oh my God, they did Jay Shetty's podcast. I got to listen to them.
And then I'm going to learn more about there.
Or vice versa, where you see people in different lights. It's always fun.
And so for me, it was just, that was the space I saw, and that space felt very clear to who I am and authentically who I am. And so that's why we were just trying to create that space. And again, it's blown my mind how trusting people it had been. And I've always found with all of this, with guest booking, just to give a practical thing, people, you need your first couple of people who open it up for you. And so I remember back in 2019 when we launched the podcast, Kobe's team reached out. So Kobe wasn't aware fully, but Kobe's team listened to my podcast. And so they reached out and they were like, we think you talking to Kobe would be amazing. And I was like, obviously, a dream, set it up. And so when I met him, we didn't have a relationship. We didn't know each other offline. I don't even think he knew who I was before we met that day. He'd heard a little bit about me, and it turned into a beautiful relationship thanks to someone behind the scenes.
Right.
And so I also want to acknowledge those people behind the scenes who make these amazing moments happen, because without that person on his team saying, Jay, I listened to your podcast and I think you'd get along with my boss, Kobe, that would never have happened.
Right.
And so he opened that up. And then that year also, Khloe Kardashian came on, and that was early days. Like the podcast was, 6-7 months old. And Khloe was sharing my work online, and she'd come online and we DM'd and messaged, and she came on the show. And so those two guests coming on in year one transformed the trajectory of the show.
Right.
And so you have to owe it to all the people who helped you tip it over a little bit, and then it makes it easier. Because I remember at one point where we were struggling to book anyone. Like people just didn't want to come on the show. Like it was so hard to book a guest. And so you've got to owe it to the people who helped you out.
Right,
when
and
you didn't have much, like I didn't have a platform to offer either of those
Because if somebody
people.
else trusts you, then you feel more trustworthy.
Totally.
That's just sometimes the way life
It's just
works.
the way it works.
It's the world of references. You're like, wow, that Kobe, those are good references.
Yeah.
They do say it's all who you know about a lot of things.
But it also shows too that you have to be authentic to what you're putting out there, because a lot of these connections, it seems, people are coming across your work. So it's like they're seeing what you're doing. You're not putting stuff out there to be noticed by massive celebrities, but they are coming across it, and that creates a very unique relationship.
Yeah, and also I think, I think for a lot of people, it's this feeling of, I also think people think about it this way, right? Like when people are deciding to share a part of their story, they're going to go to the place that allows them to share the part they want to tell. Like if they want to be funny and come across as humorous, and there's a podcast to go on for that if that's what you want to do. If you want to show a part of your personality that's really intellectual and business oriented and entrepreneurial, there's a podcast for that. And so I've also accepted that people will come on my show when they want to show that part of themselves. I can't force someone or make someone come on my show, because that won't actually bring out the best interview. The best interview is when that person's ready to share the on-purpose version of themselves. And I'm very okay with being patient for that. There's so many guests that we've been in touch with for years before they've come on the show, because that was the right time.
For the right time.
So that was with Selena when her documentary came out last year. Like that was the perfect time to talk to Selena. I'd got to meet Selena years ago, but that was the perfect time because her documentary was about mental health and about her journey. And so On Purpose was a great space for that. And so I also think it's about being patient and honoring people's journey. And hey, if Cristiano Ronaldo's not ready right now, that's okay. I'm good with that. Like I get it. Like, when he's ready, he's ready.
He will find you when he's ready.
Exactly. I think everybody out there loves to experience a little bit of luxury, but it can be expensive. Not everyone can afford it, but we have discovered Quince. Quince is our go-to for luxury essentials at affordable prices. Quince offers a range of high-quality items at prices within reach, like 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters for $50, washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and 14-karat gold jewelry. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, which we love. I just got a beautiful sweater in the mail from Quince. It's the Mongolian Cashmere Fisherman crew neck sweater. I got it in the brown color. I ordered it in a size medium so it could be like a little more oversized feel, but it is so soft. It feels so luxurious. It feels so expensive. It is great. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/CITO for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/CITO to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/CITO. I want to talk about your latest book because it's love, relationships, which is really a topic we haven't touched on yet. And of course, somehow we have 10 minutes.
I'm so sorry. I've been talking for so long.
I really enjoyed this
long
conversation.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're in this chair all the time and vice versa. When you have a guest that loves to talk and you can have those conversations, it's the best conversation.
It's always the best feeling.
So where did the desire to talk about love and relationships come from? Because it is a totally different thing, and it can be a sensitive topic because you, as someone who can give advice on love and relationships, you kind of self-appoint yourself as quote expert, right? And that can put a lot of pressure on you and your personal life, and you're married. Like, it's like people look at you, they're like, oh, you must have a perfect marriage if you're out here writing books about love and
then
relationships.
your wife says to you, oh, you think you're an expert.
Yeah, exactly.
So where did that desire to create that in that space come from?
Yeah, so when I started kind of putting together the pillars of my work, there were always 4 questions that I wanted to dedicate it to. And so when I studied ancient wisdom and philosophy, these were considered the 4 biggest decisions that a human makes in life and the 4 biggest questions. So the first is, how do I feel about myself? That's a decision we all make every day. And it's a really important decision, and it's an important choice. And so that's what Think Like a Monk was, the book, my first book, helping people answer that question. The second question is, who do I love and who loves me? It's a huge question. And I'd be honest and say we spend far more time getting a college degree, getting a driving license, getting all these sorts of things than we do actually figuring out who are we going to spend our time with and our life with. The third question is, what's my purpose and what do I do for work? And the fourth is, how do I impact or serve the world? And so my work's always been about these 4 topics. Now, what I found after writing Think Like a Monk is the 2 most common questions I got asked by my entire audience, millions of people's comment sections, videos that they responded to was, Jay, I'm struggling with my love life. Like, I've just been broken up with. I've been ghosted. I don't know if this person's right for me. Is this a red flag? Like, those were big questions. And the second set of questions was, what's my purpose? What am I meant to do with my life? I'm stuck. I don't know where to go next. And I was in a position in my life where I was working with so many people privately in my coaching work on their relationships and marriage. And I switched my whole life to just studying science and research all about relationships. And so when I write a book, I don't consider myself to be writing it from a point of expertise. I consider to be writing it from a point of research and curation and simplifying it. So I'm hoping that I'm playing that in-between role where you're a really busy person and there's this really heady stuff.
Right.
And I'm going to go off and do all the research. I'm going to make it really simple. I'm going to come up with the actionable tips. And I see myself as a researcher and a curator and someone who loves studying and learning and making it simple. So I'm not writing my book off the back of, hey, I've perfected love and that's why I'm allowed to teach it. I'm coming at it from the point of view of, I've done loads of reading and research for you, so hopefully this is a lot easier to digest and hopefully it will make sense to you. And so when I wrote my love book, it's full of stories of mistakes I've made with my wife as opposed to things we've got right, because that's where I'm coming at it from.
How do you feel like that has helped people / what is that conversation like with your wife to be like, I'm going to include these, hey, remember that fight we had last week? It's in the book.
Remember when you thought you were over it?
Yeah.
So I'll be honest and say I made a mistake. I think I probably should have asked. I didn't. And then I only lived to regret it after. So I should have asked.
So the second book's coming.
Exactly.
Dedicated to your wife.
Well, no, we need a version from her side. Relationship books should really be written from both sides.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
this is what the story looked like for me. You know, the truth is that it was really hard for my wife when the book came out because a lot of people kept coming up to her and be like, oh my God, it must be amazing being married to Jay, and he's wrote a book on love and your love must be perfect.
Because you see like the title and maybe people don't read it and they're like, you guys must be amazing.
I think that's what it is. And that she found that really, really difficult because I knew I wrote a book not about my expertise, but about science and wisdom and research. But to everyone else, it looks like I wrote a book about my amazing marriage. And it's definitely not that. And so my wife definitely found that hard. And we actually had a moment where, so every year we record a podcast together on my show on the date the podcast launched every year. And it's always on Valentine's Day because that was the day the podcast launched 5 years ago. And
it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. And when we did it last year, I actually didn't realize how much it affected her. And she started crying on the episode. And we don't plan for those. My team comes up with questions and we discuss them on the show. And we left it all in there because I wanted people to see that despite us having a healthy relationship, I never actually even thought about how much it would affect her to feel like people were putting this perfection tag on her and me. And so I realized, again, it was another blind spot for me. It was another unknown for me. It was another miss from me and an L from me. And it made me just realize, not just about asking permission or talking to her about that, because that wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
It was just thinking about how much my work and being so public affects her.
Right.
And even though she is public too, and she has a life too, it gets hard because everyone starts scrutinizing how you both post about each other. And like, like people will say things like, well, Jay, you post her, but she never posts you. Like, how do you feel about that? And I'm like, it's different. Like we both have a different take on what our boundaries are. Like I love sharing XYZ and she does not, or whatever it may be. And so I think the point I've always found is as long as we're both on the same page, it works out. But I think sometimes there's so many things that you don't even foresee. And I've definitely been a victim of that.
You said your team comes up with the questions. Do you guys approve those before you go in, or you kind of sit down and then it's go time?
For me and my wife, the team will come up for a bunch of things for us to react to, and we don't see them before it. And I enjoy that, and we enjoy that.
It's genuine.
Because it's genuine and it allows us to find things. And I think I'm at this point in my work for sure where I prefer letting myself feel I'm tapping into something and finding it as opposed to preparing for it. And I think I've done this even when I'm interviewing guests. If you look at all my recent interviews, they don't have a structure because I'm trying to ask the best question I can ask in that moment. Yep. And that's kind of a fun career challenge for me with where I'm at with what I've been doing. Because in the beginning, I used to research everything and have everything mapped out. And then that was good at the start. And then I went the opposite way where I had no research. And I was like, oh, I wasn't happy with that one. Right. And then I kind of found the in between. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, one of my guests said to me last year, he said to me, that felt like we made music together. And I was like, oh, I love that.
That's
like,
beautiful.
That's
awesome.
what I want to feel like.
Yeah.
And so now I'm always looking for like, well, if you're playing the drums and you're playing the saxophone and I'm running out of instruments, but you get the point. Like,
maybe you're singing.
Maybe I'm singing. Hopefully I'm not singing. But that whole idea of like, can we feel like we all just made music together?
Yeah.
Like, that's dope. Like that's the feeling I want.
You know, it's funny, and not to like pull all the compared in a way, but as we've been talking, I've felt so many parallels with you in a sense that like I didn't really know if I was going to expect that of you talking about your journey. And Ria and I are in a different space. We're in the podcasting space, but it's a different space, and it's just like jumping from platform to platform and the timelines,
starting
in 2018
off with the 1 minute
and the short videos into, oh my God, is long form going to work? Are people going to listen? Like we went through that when people were like, you guys should do a podcast. We were like, should we?
Yeah, we were working here and they said that. We were like, nobody's going to listen to a podcast. It exceeded 10 times the expectations, and we were
and we've had guests where we would sit down and write out notes for hours and hours and every single career thing they've done and make sure we touch on all those things. And then we felt ourselves in the interviews maybe not listening and just thinking of the next, like, oh my, okay, we haven't touched on that yet. And then you're like, oh, I'm not even really listening. And we've gone to where
and now
we're
we've thrown that all away.
Scrap that. And then it's like, oh, maybe you kind of, we found a happy spot for it, which is, so I'm just like, it's crazy because sometimes you don't think like, I'm just relating to your journey in a way that I didn't know I was going to, which is really cool.
It is really cool. And like you said, I love feeling out the conversation, and I bet you feel that way as well when you're not planning for the next thing and you may bring up something that sparks a question and then you can remember what you were going to say later on, but just to feel out the conversation naturally I think is always the best interview. It's always the best outcome. Now, we are almost out of time, but I do want to ask your involvement with the Calm app because I absolutely love the Calm app.
Oh, awesome. I love that.
So many sleep stories on there. Can you tell us about that and your role with Calm?
Yeah, so I became Chief Purpose Officer at Calm in 2022. I've known the founders of Calm, Michael and Alex, for a lot longer than that. And we became friends years ago when my work was growing and their work was growing and Calm wasn't as known and I wasn't as known, and we became friends at that stage, and I was a big fan of what they were doing. And I came at it as a fan, and I was just like, guys, we have to figure out a way to work together, because I love the fact that you're making meditation so easy and accessible, and the fact that you're making it about sleep and fitness and well-being, and you're making it just so easy for so many people around the world. So it came from, again, a really organic, fresh space. We officialized the partnership in 2022. And so now I have a 7-minute meditation on Calm called the Daily J, 5 days a week, every day of the year. So you can meditate with me 5 days a week. And then to start off 2024, we launched a 7 days of growth meditation series, which is 3 minutes a day to make it even simpler. And the goal is to give you the smallest, easiest, simplest break in your day for you to find a little bit of calm, a little bit of confidence, and a little bit of presence. And so it includes story, it includes a takeaway and an insight. It's just the most non-intimidating form of meditation. And it's been one of the most exciting things for me to see the app go from strength to strength. And if you don't like my voice, you can fall asleep to Harry Styles. You can you can meditate with LeBron James.
Matthew
McConaughey. There's so many amazing people on the app. Tamara Levitt, who's been on the app since day one, who's so fantastic and so talented. Like there's an incredible set of hosts on the app that I highly recommend if you don't like the sound of my voice.
I was going to say, I feel like it's a great way to start. Also, if meditation is something you don't do, it's a great way to maybe start doing that, because I think that's like, just starting is probably the hardest thing for people. It's like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm at work, and then I'm home. Like, when am I going to do it? So to have like 3 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever is short form, easy to kind of jump into.
In 3 minutes, you could throw on whatever. You could throw that on in the shower.
That's the goal.
When you're getting ready, and
if you're doing the laundry, doing the dishes, this is not about sitting there.
And I feel like you don't notice the impact until you actually do it. Yes. Because I've been in that space before where, you hear about how good meditation is for you, and then, you're like, oh, and then you try it out and you're like, well, actually, I was paying attention to what they were saying and wasn't in my own brain, which can feel like you're drowning sometimes.
Definitely. And I found it to be one of the key traits across all of my guests. Meditation was a habit that so many of them share. And so I feel like it's a really beautiful habit to develop. It looks different for different people, but it's a great year to start.
I know we just said last question, but I do want to ask you one more thing. So obviously we are very pop culture based.
Please.
And I want to ask you, is there anything you're watching right now? Is there any reality TV that you watch that people maybe wouldn't expect, or movies, music?
Okay, yeah.
What are you watching, listening to at home right now?
So I'm going to give you my guilty pleasure.
Okay.
My guilty pleasure is Selling Sunset.
Okay.
Oh my God. We could have spent another half hour on this.
Okay.
And obviously when you've moved to LA as a Brit and you're driving around and you drive past homes and all the rest of it, it's like
you see the Oppenheim group.
I see it. See it right there. So Selling Sunset's definitely my guilty pleasure. I'm still a big movie fan, so like Oppenheimer and Barbie were like great watches of the year. I'm really excited. I'm a big James Bond fan, so I'm waiting for the next Bond to come out, whenever that will be.
Anybody in mind? Do you have anybody you want to be the next James Bond?
Do you know what? It's a tough one. I don't know. It's a great question. Yeah,
it is really tough.
It's so hard.
Many names have been thrown around.
Yeah,
too.
it's so hard. It would be fun to see. I don't know. I don't know. Idris Elba would be cool.
I feel like he's always been the dream one, and every like few months there's a rumor about him being, and he's like, it's not me. But I don't know. I think they claim they want to go like younger. James Bond. I
go on.
I've had my own Aaron Taylor Johnson. Think would be amazing. Nicholas Hoult is also one of my favorite actors. I think.
Oh, you've got your own short. You've thought about this too.
My family, like we're big James Bond people, so we've been, but it's been years now. It's like, when are we?
Right. I know, I'm waiting.
It almost feels like it's never happening.
Yes, exactly. So, and it's
some guy out there knows that it's him, and he's kept his mouth shut.
It's a fun time for movies right now. Obviously, like we're in award season, so the Oscar, everybody's watching all those movies. I don't know what I was waiting so long for, but I watched Oppenheimer for the first time last week, and it was fantastic.
So good, so good. Yeah, and I'm hoping that I need to watch the new Emma Stone movie.
Yeah, Poor Things.
Yeah, Poor Things. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Yeah,
I have not either.
I haven't either, but it is sweeping awards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things where as soon as a movie is available to rent on my TV, I'm in. I'm watching it. It's like, so I'm like waiting for that moment. It's still in theaters, but going to the
I'm a big
theaters.
Emma Stone fan too,
Yeah.
so I think that would be dope.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She's
Yeah,
amazing
she's
in
really
it. 'Cause
great.
the Oscar nominations just came out. She got
they
nominated.
didn't know Zac Efron, the Iron Claw.
Oh.
That was the first thing I checked.
You were good.
I forgot
The Iron
about
was
Claw
hard.
was
Yeah. I
amazing.
haven't seen it.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Oh,
really,
that's-
really
yeah.
good.
Emotional.
Tearjerker.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you
This
for
has been
coming in.
awesome.
Obviously, people can consume your content online, on social media, but also listen to the podcast On Purpose with Jay Shetty. You can, I'm sure, listen to your books
can listen to
anywhere.
them,
and I feel like people must love Audible for you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I read the books. Yeah, I read them myself. Yes,
That definitely. So you can also go on Audible, listen. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
on.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you so
Thank you so much
much.
for having me. Honestly, this was so much fun, and I hope it connected with the audience. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, that wraps up today's episode of Chicks in the Office. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday. I did a snap finger gun for those who don't watch.